I dreamed a dream in days gone by, when I was young and life worth living. I dreamed of Mary by my side, a house, our children from God's giving. Then I was bold and unafraid. I lived my life with faith and vigor, a simple carpenter by trade. But it was gone when the Spirit came. The powers of dreams. I'd like to think for a moment of this man who lived in the first century, and the dream that he had built up in his life as a carpenter. Was it merely to hold fast to his small business there in Nazareth, to marry a young woman, perhaps to lead a simple life, to have a few children, a home, food on the table, enough money to pay taxes to the empire, perhaps enough money to save a little bit, to take that annual pilgrimage to Jerusalem for the high holy days. Perhaps there was a dream that life would be better for his children than what he had known. Perhaps there was a dream that he and Mary would build something special and wonderful together. Now we can think of Joseph and the dreams that he had for his life. And we can think how in just a moment that dream seemed to come crashing down. You see, all of a sudden there is the word that this young woman to whom he is engaged, and we like to think of engagement rather casually, but engaged in the betrothed sense was a very serious thing. That she was now committed and he was committed. They were going to be together. All that was required now was the ceremony. And yet what we find out is that something has happened. Something has happened where now, all of a sudden, without having had sexual relations with one another, Mary is going to have a child. Joseph, I'm sure, is quite perplexed by this and is struggling with what to do. What to do in the midst of this precarious situation? How could he be honorable with her and yet also maintain his own respect and dignity within this culture? How would they work it out in some fashion? So he devises a plan, very carefully, that he will quietly dismiss her so that she can go. She can have the child. She can live her life, and he can continue on in his way, perhaps getting engaged and married to another woman, raising a family, and not having disrespect or loss of dignity in his own community, his own culture. He's thought this through. The dream that he has had, he is ready to let go. And perhaps in his mind, he is formulating the next opportunity. How his life now might be differently. But in the midst of this thinking through and change of plans, he sleeps. He sleeps, and there in his sleep, the angel, the messenger of God, comes to him and speaks a word, saying, "Don't dismiss Mary. Do not let her go. Know that this child is of the Holy Spirit." Of the Holy Spirit. And when Joseph awakes, he follows the angels, the messengers heeding, and goes through with the engagement, or with the marriage to Mary. Of course, Within the story, there are lots of little quirky and wonderful things. We don't know that a census ever really existed to call people to Bethlehem, but we know that Joseph and Mary make a trip there on account of this census, or as some might say, this going off to the relatives to make sure that they're not counting the weeks or the months in her hometown, and that rather there the child is conceived in this place, Bethlehem, house of bread. That there in this place the child is given a name, Jesus, meaning the one or he who saves. Of course, you'll also notice another little quirky piece with that. Because the angel does say you shall name him as the one who saves, but his name is supposed to be Emmanuel, right? And somehow we end up with Jesus, or perhaps more appropriately, Yeshua, this one who saves, who calls people in a new way. And Joseph experiences that, richly and deeply, perhaps with a lot of trouble and struggle mixed in. He's wondering about this woman he's betrothed to and now married to. What has happened? He's wondering about this God who, even in the most intimate of moments, could God really be present in and among us as people, much less in his own family? What does that mean, and what does that look like? And oh my goodness, if this little one is truly of God, imagine all of the quandaries he is going through in his mind about what it means to raise up this little one in a good and faithful way. What does this look like? What does that mean? Now I want to pause there and think about our own lives. What are the dreams that we build up for ourselves? What are the dreams that we hold fast to in our lives? Perhaps it is growing up, the dreams of what you want to be. Are you going to be an artist, a dancer? Are you going to be an attorney or a doctor? Are you going to be president of the United States? Or are you simply going to be someone who's going to explore and venture out in the world? And as we grow into teenagers, perhaps we start creating this dream of finding someone special that we might share our lives with. A spouse, a partner. Perhaps we start to dream about what our life might look like after high school. Whether we go to technical school or to a community college or a university. Perhaps we start wondering, what would it look like if we created a family? A biological family? A created family? What might it look like if we adopt children or have children? What will it look like to be in relationship with our parents as they age? To hear their stories, to garner their wisdom,